Age of Myth sets the stage for the entire Legends of the First Empire series, but while it is busy doing that, Sullivan still included many Easter eggs, not only to the Legends series, but to all of the Elan series. So today, we're going to cover 10 Easter eggs in Age of Myth. This video will have spoilers not only for Age of Myth, but also for the rest of the Legends of the First Empire series, Death of Dulgath, and Fariliane. Let's get started. The first time Makaretta shows up in the story, Arian describes her as a mousy introvert with a wonderful talent for sculpting stone. Fast forward a couple thousand years and go to the other side of the continent to the coastal town of Dulgath. The famous artist Sherwood states that Dulgath was famous for its sculptures, a hint that the spirit in Dulgath may be someone more familiar than you first think. During Wraith and Malcolm's time together, Wraith gets upset and swears, using the curse Tetlin's Witch. Malcolm immediately chastises him. When pressed, Malcolm states that he only said that because he was superstitious. But if you've read the whole series, you know that the character of Muriel, who is sometimes referred to derogatorily as the Tetlin Witch, is actually Malcolm's daughter. Very early in the book, Suri admires a butterfly and then considers what the cost would be to become one. This is a clear foreshadowing of Suri's own journey throughout the series, as she goes from a caterpillar but faces her fears and emerges a butterfly powerful beyond comprehension. In fact, the final chapter of the series from Suri's point of view is titled What Do Butterflies Do?, completing Suri's story full circle. While speaking about gods, it is mentioned that Wraith's clan, the Durayans, have 3 gods of war, called the Minigan. At first, this may seem like a random fact, but once you look at the world map that was released with Nolan, you notice that the Minigan name may be rooted in history more than first thought. This next Easter egg has 2 references. First, Persephone talks about how she imagined the mystic wood as having evil things such as demons, ghosts, and Rao. And then later, Suri reflects on how Tura had fought a Rao. Both of these are actually correct, as seen in the short story Pile of Bones, which took place around 2 years before Age of Myth, where Tura does indeed battle a Rao in the mystic wood and seals it in a tree. When reflecting on her skills of dealing with supernatural entities, Suri reminisces how she has always been able to stop the Gulgans from getting in the mushrooms. At first glance, this seems like Gulgans are some sort of mystical woodland creature, but for those who have read Pile of Bones, they will know that Gulgans is the word Suri uses for weeds. While the Galantians are enjoying some free time, the giant Grigor begins singing a song about a goblin king named Balod. Balod was an actual goblin king that the Galantians had fought years ago before in the Adendal Durat. It was in this 5-day-long battle that one Galantian, Anatole, was killed. Anwir, who was a prisoner of the goblins, was freed and joined them. And finally, Tek Chin fought and killed the Goblin King, gaining his prominent scar in the process. Brynn writes about a star constellation that she now sees as representing the bear, Grin the Brown. As with many things, due to Brynn being the main and only human during that era who was recording information, this constellation stuck. In the book Fariliane, which takes place almost 2,000 years later, Fariliane is looking at the stars and mentions the constellation Grin the Brown. The next Easter egg also involves Fariliane. When Wraith, Malcolm, and Persephone reach a waterfall, they see Suri and Mina jump off. Next, Malcolm jumps off. At that point, Persephone exclaims, "Oh, grandmother, be with me," and then she jumps, finally followed by Wraith. Now, fast forward 2,000 years, where once again we find 3 people in the Mystic Wood overlooking a waterfall. They include Malcolm, or Kyle as he is currently being called, Persephone's great-great-great-great-granddaughter, Fariliane, and lastly Sheldon. Again, Malcolm is the first to jump. Fariliane is next, And even though she is a strong atheist, this descendant of Persephone curiously mutters something very similar to Persephone when she exclaims, "Oh, sweet mother of all." And then finally Sheldon jumps. The two scenes have quite a few parallels. And for the final Easter egg, we have several instances in which it is hinted that Malcolm is much more than we are first led to believe. When Persephone, Wraith, and Malcolm are fighting Conager and his men, Persephone notices that Malcolm seems to make a very skillful thrust with his spear. At this point, Malcolm has supposedly barely ever used a spear before, hinting that Malcolm may have much more experience with a spear than we first thought. In the very first scene of the book, Malcolm tells Wraith, "There's a difference between being long-lived and immortal. Immortal means you can't die, even if you want to," hinting that Malcolm knows something about being immortal. And for the final one, the book ends with this interaction. Nephron shook his head. "No, all that I've done and will do was predestined, ordained by God." Malcolm raised a skeptical eyebrow. "Really? Which one?" Nephron offered a mischievous grin. "I haven't decided." Little does Nephron know that what he is doing actually has been predestined by a god. He just doesn't know that it is the one standing right in front of him. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Be sure to subscribe and watch my other videos to learn more about the world of Elan and Riyria. Thanks!